In this video, I'm going to show you how to beat the YouTube algorithm in 2022. I'm going to show you draw-dropping graphs. I'm going to show you data that's never been seen before. I'm going to reveal the algorithm secrets as told by YouTube themselves. And if you watch this video to its conclusion, I guarantee you it will fundamentally change the way you think about the YouTube algorithm. It's pretty exciting, isn't it? Say hello to Todd. He works at YouTube and is an expert in search and discovery. If you've ever watched the Creator Insider channel, which you really should, he often pops up on there to remind us that the algorithm isn't against you. Spoiler alert, it is. And Todd recently took his wealth of knowledge and data into the conferencing circuit. Here he is talking at VidSummit, and he had some fascinating insights to share. So just before we jump into this, I'm curious to know if you could ask Todd one question about the YouTube algorithm, what would it be? Let us know in the comments below. Having asked you that, I know there's only one thing you're interested in right now. That graph I teased a little earlier on. Watch time? Yeah, let's take a look. What is good audience retention on YouTube videos? Well, here we have it. For a 3-minute video, the average view duration is 62%. For a 30-minute video, it's half that at just 31%. Now, I thought that YouTube were trying to avoid these types of global benchmarking because ultimately it just gives creators a stick to prod YouTube with when their expectations are not met. Let's say, for example, that I had a 15-minute video with a 45% average view duration that doesn't take off. That would be jolly annoying, wouldn't it? Or on the flip side, you have a video with very mediocre audience retention that would put it around about here on the graph, and yet it blows up performing well beyond typical. Of course, that isn't annoying in the slightest. You want it to happen, but at the same time you're left scratching your head figuring out how it happened. This might help explain it a little bit. Watch time for the video was above typical right out of the gate, so YouTube tested the video with new viewers who aren't as invested in your content, and that lowers the average view duration. Relative audience retention is pretty strong too, but this is just one example up against the millions of videos that make up this data. So if you do want to match up your audience retention with the rest of YouTube, now's your chance. Although having looked at all of this, there is one big data point that's missing from this graph. YouTube Shorts. Now, full disclaimer, this is not official YouTube data, but this is where I think YouTube Shorts will probably end up on that graph. Perfect. Should probably give this back to Jasper. Go on, Jasper. Take it. Go on. It's yours. Clearly I haven't figured out the dog algorithm, have I? When it comes to YouTube, it's pretty much impossible to take one single number from the analytics and extrapolate success or failure. And watch time is no different. And that's because, according to the YouTube algorithm, not all watch time is considered equal. Sometimes a viewer can watch 30 minutes of content on YouTube and come away from it not feeling very satisfied. And if that is the case, it could lead to that person not using YouTube for a couple of days and opting for TikTok or Instagram Reels instead. And that is what YouTube hates. They're in it for the long game. YouTube's algorithm wants viewers to be satisfied by what they watch today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, next decade. So watch time simply isn't enough by itself. YouTube needs to measure the value and satisfaction of a watch time, and they do that with many other signals. If you want to dive into this more, we've got a whole video over here, but what Todd specifically mentioned in his conference talk was the idea of transformational experiences. YouTube can do this because it measures 80 billion different signals, whatever that means. And when a video successfully transforms a viewing experience in a positive way, the algorithm wants to amplify that. So yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. Does YouTube give your video a fair chance to be discovered? Well, according to Todd at YouTube, over 600 million different videos are recommended every day on the homepage and through suggested video. Now that sounds like a really incredibly impressive number on the face of it, but is it really? I genuinely don't know. For me, this statistic lacks a little bit of context since there are over 2 billion monthly users on YouTube. I don't know if this includes all languages. There are millions of new videos published every single day, and yet I can still be recommended one from 10 years ago. So 600 million? Oh. So let's try and add a little bit of context to that, and this is something that Todd said about viewers. The history of what a user has watched is the most valuable thing that the YouTube algorithm can understand. That's because a viewer's recommendations, what they see on the homepage, up next, suggested videos, are highly influenced by personalization. what YouTube knows about the viewer. So let me give you my personal experience of this. I don't know about you, but I have multiple interests, and when I'm on YouTube, I tend to associate different channels with each one of those interests. I religiously watch MKBHD for tech stuff. I watch a channel called Wrestling Bios for 1990s wrestling stuff. And I watch Oliver Harper for anything to do with film retrospectives and reviews. Now, because I watch these channels so regularly, at least once a week, these channels frequently appear on my homepage, even though I'm not subscribed to two of them. I gave up subscribing to channels years ago. YouTube has all of the signals it needs. Doesn't need this one anymore. Hasn't needed it for years. Now, if one of those channels covered all of those topics, would I just watch that one channel? I don't think so. Their styles, personalities, and formats match their topics. So as usual, in some respects, this goes back to channel focus and becoming the best creator for a certain niche and target audience on YouTube. I have a deep passion for YouTube, tech, wrestling, films, but what do you come here to watch? None of the other stuff. And when you come to the vidIQ channel and really enjoy a video about YouTube education, what do you really want to watch next from us? And that leads us on to another really insightful data point from Todd. If 100 people watch your video this week, 700 potential viewers will see your thumbnails the following week. Or, to put it another way, for every view you earn, YouTube gives you, on average, 7 more opportunities to gain another view. This is basically YouTube's advertising budget for your content. And with some back of a napkin maths, we can take the views from one week and the impressions from the following week to get a ratio. And it looks like YouTube is even more generous than average with its content advertising budget for the vidIQ channel. However, just like all of the other numbers, there's a really critical human element behind the data. YouTube isn't giving you 7 random opportunities. It's been really selective with which viewers they put your thumbnails in front of. I'm sure you've all seen this shelf before when shopping on Amazon. What else customers buy after viewing an item? Amazon knows that if you intend to buy a Spider-Man mask, you probably want to buy other Marvel collectibles as well. I mean, hello, I have $1,000 worth of Amazon influence decisions that's sitting on my shelves, and well, YouTube is pretty much the same, but just a little more subtle about it. Everything on this YouTube homepage is driven by personalization, not only from the creators I watch on a regular basis, but by the content YouTube knows other viewers tend to watch, even if I myself have never seen them before. Every time somebody watches one of your videos and then they watch another one of your videos or a suggested video by YouTube after watching one of your videos, that strengthens a relationship between similar videos, which makes session watch time, average views per viewers, and this panel on the YouTube Studio, which shows you what your viewers are watching elsewhere on YouTube, all the more critical. You might call this passive collaboration with other creators, but at the same time, you end up competing with them, which means that your titles and thumbnails are super important, which leads on to click-through rate. Unfortunately, Todd wasn't able to provide any clutch information about click-through rate, but there's good reason for that. It's a constantly evolving, fluid piece of data. Very hard to measure, very hard to calculate, as I demonstrated in this video. In the past, YouTube's algorithm has only been explained through insane diagrams such as this. So I want to thank Todd in his efforts to make this type of stuff more approachable for creators. But how does all of this fundamentally change the way you think about the YouTube algorithm? Well, here's the simple answer. The algorithm is less to do with numbers and more to do with people. In Todd's own words, what the algorithm is designed to do is follow the audience and make them happy. And that is what Todd, YouTube, and myself recommend you do. Replace the word algorithm with audience. You came into this video wanting to know how to beat the YouTube algorithm. Well, I hope you're leaving this video wanting to know how to beat the YouTube audience. No, that doesn't sound right, does it? How to build a YouTube audience. And you can start doing that by removing these 3 rookie YouTube mistakes that everybody makes by watching this video over here.